I talked to eCapitol News Director Shawn Ashley about the top stories at the Capitol. Shawn, the week began with the budget news. What are legislators going to do about it?
Well, it looks like what they will be doing is calling all the state agencies back in to look over their budgets for a second time. Already in advance of the legislative session, most of the agencies have come in and spoken to the various appropriations and budget subcommittees about how much money they received last year, what they need for the upcoming fiscal year, and then why all that's important. But House Speaker Jeff Hickman said on Thursday that they would be calling them back to delve more deeply into their budgets, to find out exactly what they have to fund and then where they might be able to trim programs and make some cuts. Hickman essentially promised that they would be taking the deepest look at budgets that they have in recent years, and promised that they would be able to make some really good decisions when all was said and done.
Isn't what they have to fund very subjective?
That is true. It's going to depend from agency to agency, and I think as President Pro Tem Brian Bingman pointed out, we'll be looking at some really targeted cuts. We may see some agencies with larger cuts, some agencies with much smaller cuts, in part due to the arguments made by the agency leaders that we have to do this and we can barely afford to cut this other thing.
A story that became a national news story concerned AP history classes in Oklahoma and the coursework involved in that. Tell us about that bill.
That's exactly true. House Bill 1830 by Representative Dan Fisher would look to change the AP U.S. history course in the state of Oklahoma. It's important to remember that AP courses are important because students who pass the test for these courses are able to receive college credit. Representative Fisher's concern about these was that they are presenting the United States in sort of a negative way, and therefore that taxpayer dollars should not be used to support them. What he has offered in his bill is that in lieu of the advanced placement U.S. history course currently offered and the test offered by the College Board, that Oklahoma would develop its own curriculum. The problem with that is the relationship between the test and the college credit and the curriculum. He has suggested that you would be able to teach whatever was necessary and test however you chose to test, but he believes still get the credit, and that's really going to be a rub for some school districts, for some students, and for their parents.
Another bill that's moving concerns drilling regulations.
That's right. On Thursday, a bill was passed through the Senate Energy Committee that essentially states that it is the state that regulates oil and natural gas drilling in the state of Oklahoma and preempts local regulations. Senate President Pro Tem Brian Bingman, who is the author of the bill, was quick to point out that it does not prevent local regulations on noise, setbacks, the use of roadways by oil and gas trucks, but in terms of being able to prohibit drilling in certain areas, cities and towns would not be able to do that. That's a discussion that's taking place in Norman right now that's in keeping with Bingman's bill. They're talking about setbacks, road usage, noise, but not prohibiting drilling.
And next week is a deadline week.
That's right. On Thursday is the deadline for bills to be heard in the Senate. It's the deadline for bills to be heard in the House on Friday. If bills do not make it out of these committees this week, chances for their survival throughout the remainder of the legislative process are quite slim.
eCapitol News Director Shawn Ashley, thank you.
You're very welcome.